Morning, folks. Last week I showed you how we transplant into our raised beds with the chopped leaves using our sliding gutter system. Well, today I wanted to show you, just because they're ready to be uncovered, how I start direct seed into the chopped leaves. And in this case, I'm starting beans because they don't transplant really well, or that's what they say anyway. So let me zoom in and show you here my method here for starting beans in raised beds that are covered with chopped leaves. Okay, you should be able to see this. I've already uncovered these, but what I have here is corner bead that drywallers use. You put these on the corners, outside corners of drywall corners, so that there's a bead that protects the corners. Anyways, the stuff's pretty cheap. I don't know, used to be about $1.50 for an 8-foot length of it. I use these for I call them the circling stoppers in planters, that keeps the roots from circling, and it provides some air pruning. Anyways, I've got a lot of these laying around. So what I did is I moved the leaves aside, and then I planted bean seeds, and then I covered them with a piece of this corner bead. And now this morning, the plants had emerged to the point where they were lifting the corner bead off. So I'm removing these now, and these plants, these little seedlings, are robust enough that they can bust through the chopped leaves. So here I have another short little piece. I just had a bunch of little pieces laying around. As you can see, maybe you can't, I'll zoom in here in a little bit. The seedlings have emerged, and those little pieces of corner bead have given them protection and kept them from being smothered until they germinate. And then we'll just rinse them off and remove them. So here's a long length here, so we just pull the leaves off. And then lift that up, and we have our row of emerging green bean seeds coming up. And at this point, the leaves should not be a hindrance. They shouldn't smother them. Here's a full length one, and you can see, maybe you can't see, but the seedlings have actually lifted my corner bead all the way off. So by the end of the day, they'll probably have their heads well above the chopped leaves. So I'll just rinse that corner bead off, just rinse it and store it away, and last forever. Just keep reusing it. It's not necessary, but it gives them that time under the chopped leaves to germinate and lift that corner bead up through the leaves, and then we just pull it off and away they go. It just makes it a lot easier. And again, the smaller seeded things, we're starting to transplant more using our gutter system with the movable floor. So the reason I had to replant this in the first place is a little bunny came and feasted on most of the emerging bean seeds. So I have to get this other bed cap made and get this thing protected. Oh, I guess that's it. Well, tell you what, as long as this is short enough, want to take a quick garden tour? Alrighty, let's do it. These are extra pepper plants that I moved outdoors, and they're covered right now with our former chicken cage, which is no longer a chicken cage because, you see this? That was a black bear that got in and killed 2 of our chickens, made off with the feeder, and it put an end to our mobile chicken cage days. So they're now in the barn where they will be until Monday when they move to the freezer. My plan for this is to extend the legs of the hoops on each side by 2 feet, and I'm going to turn this into a mini hoop house. I'm going to cover this with plastic, extend the side walls, and then this will be a movable mini greenhouse that I can hopefully then get some peppers, because here we are starting the 3rd week of July, and I don't think we'd get any otherwise. Some yellow squash, little babies are starting. Some cucumbers that probably don't stand a chance. No, I'm sorry, cantaloupe probably doesn't stand a chance. Over there, some Yaradale squash that probably don't stand a chance. Tomatoes are coming right along in the hoop house, and I think we'll be fine with those, getting a crop of tomatoes. We know that generally we're good until October with the protection from the hoop house. We have 3 earth boxes with bell pepper and jalapenos. They should be fine. They're all fed by the rain barrels. Our habanadas finally starting to come on a little bit. I think about August we'll probably start to see them really take off. Peg's hollyhocks, despite the drought, are showing off here on the south side of our house, kind of partially hiding our covered solar heater. There's an old wheelbarrow wheel that's been laying around here. We've been laying out in the garden for 20 years. I finally made a little decorative wheelbarrow for Peggy to show off some of her flowers in. Peg's perennial garden, which despite the drought again is not a lot blooming right now, but a lot that has and a lot more coming on. Despite the hostas that have been visited by our resident deer. Potatoes are done flowering, starting to die back a little bit, getting some nice red potatoes underneath the chopped leaves. Our Scarlet Emperor beans are learning to climb, growing in 2 earth boxes that are fed by one of our garden stream float valve systems that's fed by just a tote here filled with just plain water at this point. Our critter-proof bed there with the red onions in them, we should get a decent crop here come fall. As well as carrots. These were all started in my movable floor gutter system. They say you really can't transplant carrots either because they get crooked roots, so we'll see if we get corkscrew-shaped carrots. Regardless, they should taste good. We have over here some butternut squash that are finishing their climbing lessons, and they're doing pretty well. We have some spaghetti squash that's not going to climb, apparently. Cucumbers are just now coming on. They should take off here anytime. Peas I got one little picking left, and then they're done, and we're gonna start some more lettuce and beets and Swiss chard in this bed. More butternut squash, and these guys have graduated from climbing school and are doing pretty well. And then this is what we did last week. The Swiss chard and beets that are safely growing away in their little cage. The gutters that last week had the beets and Swiss chard in them, I replanted with just some leaf lettuce and some more beets and Swiss chard, so those will go in the bed that has the peas in it now. So that's kind of it for now. I'll get to that video on how I make that movable gutter system. Yeah, again, I gotta come up with a better name than that. So until then, this is Mark again with Backwood Basics. Kind of chilly this morning. We actually got a 1/2 inch of rain. So that puts us up to 6/10 of an inch of rain in the month of July so far, into the third week of July. So hey, things are looking up. Let's grow together.